Hi, my buddy. Sad, sad day. So what happened? Hmm. Where do we start? Bruno, the Doberman. He's a Doberman. And had to let him go. Well, he's still roaming around back there somewhere. But we had to let him go from the business. So let's talk about Dobermans. And let's talk about pets in general. Everything you do in general trains your pet. Especially smarter dogs that have high energy levels. Everything you do day-to-day life is training them. Say for instance, I wake up during the week to go to work, to go to the gym, take Bruno out on his jogs. He gets used to a set time. That's training Bruno. And you start this from when they're tiny, tiny pups. Everything you're doing, everything you're putting into that dog is training that dog. And you have to remember this when it comes to interactions. Keeping them off the sofa. If you want them off the sofa, you got to keep them off the sofa. You can't have times where you tap that sofa, tell them to get up there, because then you're training them that that sofa's okay. If you're training them that they're eating at a certain time, eating a certain amount of food, you have to keep that consistency. So how did this go wrong? Well, we always train Bruno, who's a Doberman, to be a family pet. What does that entail? Well, you want some of the guard features, but you also want the temperament of a family dog. So how does this go with training? Well, stuff like when you're a puppy, they might be a little bitey, so you train that out of them. Tell them no biting. No biting people, no biting dogs, no biting other animals. When Bruno was a pup, we had another dog in the house, 2 ferrets, and a cat. And he saw all the other animals, so he interacted with lots of small animals. And we had to train him, hey, don't grab, don't bite. This has to be trained into, especially your terrier breeds that are small animal chasers, small animal catchers. Dobermans, they like chasing, but he's not as aggressive to small animals as far as grabbing them as our little Jack Russell. So let's get back to bringing them into the business. Well, Bruno's been trained that he has free reign pretty much over the house. He doesn't venture to certain places during certain times. It's not that he can't, he just doesn't do it. He maintains his area, his space, and he alerts you like Dobermans will do if anyone gets near that space. And this is why he doesn't quite work out as a good business partner. Because after a while, that becomes his space. His family's there. His owner, his food is all in this space. So, guess what? When other people and other dogs come into that space, he's going to react. And it will require training him not to react in that space. Now, at this point, Bruno's about 6 years old. He is a stubborn puppy, but he's also smart. So dealing with the smartness and the stubbornness can be challenging. And he's big. He's not a small dog. Dobermans can weigh between 65 and 90 pounds. Bruno's 94 pounds. High energy level. Not the highest. Energy level's rated about a 4 for a Doberman. And exercise requirements for a Doberman are about a 3. So of a level from 1 to 5, he's about a 3. So he requires basically long walks on a leash, or what he's doing right now is running around outside in the yard chasing squirrels. Playfulness is about a 3, which is funny because sometimes he wants to play, sometimes he doesn't. Friendliness towards other dogs. Dobermans are rated as a 2, which is kind of interesting because, like I said, he was raised with an older dog, which was a mini pincher that was a good bit, let's say, grumpier than Bruno. But at that point, Max was old. He was about 12 years old when we got Bruno, and passed away maybe 2 years. So, but he did get to interact from being a tiny puppy where he was roughly maybe a little bit smaller than Max even as a puppy. His paws were a lot bigger. Huge paws as a puppy. But he was about the same size, and 6 months later, he was definitely able to just place his paw on top of Max. Same thing he does with Baxter at this point. But the Jack Russell is fast, and he's a Jack Russell. Friendliness toward other pets is supposed to be rated as a 3. We haven't had any problem with the ferrets or the cats. When the younger cat was a kitten, Bruno would definitely play with it and toss it up the steps. The only problem is getting him to be as gentle as he needs to be when he's playing. But he will pick up the cats and move them around. He keeps the other pets where they're supposed, or where he thinks they're supposed to be. Friendliness towards strangers. Dobermans are rated as a 1 as friendliness towards strangers. Now again, we train Bruno to be a family pet. So on our walks, we do interact with people, and he doesn't have any issue with the people that we interact with. He mostly ignores people. He will try to sniff other dogs, and he will sniff people as we walk by. And this is something I'm going to try to train him out of, to see if I can get him to stop moving towards people on our walks, which is kind of tough because most people will either, get into the street and off the sidewalk, or they'll do the same. The only people that will walk directly past are the people that are used to us in the neighborhood. So, but friendliness towards strangers has never been an issue. He will light the house up if somebody approaches at night, even if there's a car all the way up the curb. So, but it's more of an alertness once they come in and he senses that they are friendly or that we are fine with the interaction, he's fine with the interaction. Ease of training. It's supposed to be a 5, but I kind of disagree. He can be trained, but again, he's stubborn. Dobermans definitely have their own mind made up when they want to do stuff. Watchdog ability is a 5. Supposedly, the Dobermans were bred from German Shepherds and a Terrier, which is kind of interesting. This because they wanted a slimmer dog. They bred this dog way back in 1899 is when the breed first came around. So it was a German Shepherd and a German Pinscher originally. Then they kind of crossed it with a black and tan Master or Manchester. I'm probably not saying that right. Black and tan Manchester Terrier, a Greyhound, and a Weimaraner. So that's how we came up with the Doberman way back in 1899. Primary function was guardian. And then today's function, security, police, military. You don't see too many of them in the military anymore because they are more stubborn than some of the German Shepherds. Just as strong. The bite is just as strong. But they can be a little bit more of a handful. Even though the training is supposed to be a 5, you really got to be persistent with your training. And that's what I'm saying. All your interactions, you have to remember, interactions with your pets are like training, especially when you're consistently doing stuff. Protection ability is a 5. I mean, it's a Doberman. They're fast, and they're strong. And at 90 plus pounds, that's a good bit of dog. I mean, it's not your super large breeds, extra large breeds, or your giant breeds, but it's a large breed. Grooming requirements, not much grooming. He doesn't need haircuts. As long as he gets his walks, you don't have to worry about his nails, because the amount of running, walking he does, he normally files those down, except for that little thumb nail. Cold tolerance is a 3. He likes the cold a lot more than he likes the heat, even though the heat tolerance is supposed to be a 3 also. So those are kind of interesting aspects. Cold, he'll sit out in the cold, when it's near 30 degrees, near freezing, no problem. Once it gets above 90 degrees here in Texas, he wants to be inside. He'll run outside briefly, and then he'll run back inside, and you hear him panting, and he'll sit there and pant for a while. So Doberman temperament, intelligent, capable guardian, ever on the alert. You'll see his little ears, they'll always be sticking up. So he's always ready to protect the house unless I'm there. Then he just goes to sleep on me sometimes, especially during the day. At night, he's much more alert, but during the day, when he knows I'm around, you'll find him sleeping, and you can almost sneak up on him. Responsive to owner's wishes, unless I'm kicking him out of room, he's pretty responsive. But again, this is what got him fired. He wants to protect. And, when you have to constantly coach in certain environments, he's going to turn more into that guard dog, which is his nature, than being the friendly family buddy, which he is. So just remember that. When you train your dogs, when you coach your dogs, even from when they're a puppy, it's always an opportunity to train. So you want to train those instincts. If you want a family dog, you got to train it to be a family dog. If you want a protector, you're going to have to train it to be a protector. Those are 2 very different scenarios. And you have to remember, your interactions are what train that pet. Well, that's all I got for you today. This is Harry from Preppy Pet Colleyville. Talk to you guys later.